That's my bad.
It's all good.
I caught the button again. Oh, sorry, dudes.
It's all right. It's all right. What's going on, everyone? This is the PSN Party Podcast. I'm your host, SSGSentienl, along with BMG, BaldManGamer. How are you doing today, BMG?
Not so bad, thank you very much. You see, we had a week off because I had a lot of stuff happening, so we took a week's hiatus. But yeah, it's great to be back talking all things PlayStation and supporting our Uncle Jimmy in the fight against Xbox.
Exactly. For those of you that did see our post on Twitter, we did have a guest scheduled for today. Unfortunately, due to some scheduling issues, we had to move him to next week. It's completely cool. So our guest for this week will actually be on next week on our show. BMG, what have you been playing this week? Anything new, or are you just going back to Destiny 2, especially since they are allowing people to have that? I guess it's a DLC with part of PS Plus. Have you purchased that already, or did you just download it for the first time?
No, I own all the DLCs, expansions, and packs for Destiny 2. And I've got them on the Xbox side, but the way it actually works now is if I decide I want to go to PC or I want to play it on my PlayStation, everything's linked by your Bungie account now. So all I have to do is, if I want to jump to PlayStation, load it onto PlayStation, log in to my Bungie account, and it'll transfer all my DLCs, my gear, my weapons, my progress. Everything moves over. It's all done in one motion. You know, you don't have this. Well, yeah, you can play it on multi-platforms, but you can't take all your stuff. It's quite good connected. They're probably one of the better ones that I've seen do it. But no, I'm staying away from Destiny until Lightfall drops, which comes out on the 28th of February, I believe. So I've decided I'm taking a break, stepping away from it for a little bit because I've got so much I need to do in it. And I thought, well, I want to get some other games in. And like saying that week off, I managed to play a lot of games as well, actually, a bit of a list of them, really. Obviously, top one, which I'm on every day. It takes up so many hours of my life, and that is Marvel Snap. The best game of the year mobile game. It's awesome, absolutely awesome. And Sentinel, they've got co-op battling now, so you could get it. I can give you a code, and we can go against each other. I'm only, what am I now? Level 1,143, I think. So still in that low range.
Wow.
Low range,
okay.
But
if I am tempted to play, I will let you know.
Yes. I need someone to play against. Finbar. I know Finbar actually has it. So, it would be cool to play Finbar at some point because nobody will battle me. I think everyone's just afraid.
Right.
Everyone's afraid.
I saw him in the chat, so I mean, might as well, right?
Yeah, that's it. Finbar, if you want to play after the show, hit me up and we'll sort a game out. Just to warn you, I'm slightly good at the game. What else have I been playing? I've been doing Outer Worlds. I'm quite far into that now. I think I'm probably just over halfway through it. I've just been getting a couple of hours in here and there playing. Last couple of nights, me and Ash and Fabio jumped into Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. We've had a few games on that, and we did a bit of Sea of Thieves. You missed it, Sentinel. You could have joined. You could have been there and watched the disaster that it was.
Yeah. I haven't downloaded it yet.
Oh yeah, we had fun. Things were a bit crazy, but yeah, it was good. It was good.
Nice.
I finished Quantum Break. I mentioned that the other week. Oh God, I've literally just gone through a few games and half of them have gone out of my head now. And I touched a bit more on Spider-Man. I want to get the DLCs because I owned them when I got the PlayStation 5 version of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But never actually managed to do the DLC side of it because it was kind of like I just wanted to get the story and then move on because there was other games I wanted to play. But now it's kind of like, well, we're a small lull period for me Hogwarts, I'm two minds whether I'm going to pick up or not. So not because of anything of the news that's going on. Nothing to that. I'm not going to mention that. It's just it's just one of them. I sort of I've seen the prequel films. I took my daughter to watch them. I don't really understand all these words and things that are going on. But I might get it, might not. I'm two minds. But I was more looking forward to Jedi Survivor, but that's just been delayed till end of April, I think it has. I know they did with IGN first the other day and released first 9 minutes of the game or gameplay. They did not like cutscenes or anything, and it looks good. It looks really good. It looks like it plays really well. So, but what about yourself? What have you been playing?
To be honest, I've been playing a lot of Far Cry 5. I've been playing it on my PlayStation 5 and putting it on my YouTube channel, and it's like it's kind of, I think it's my Wi-Fi that's been acting up with my PlayStation. Like I'll be live streaming for a while and it'll just say, "Oh, the connection was lost." So a little aggravating, but fortunately I wasn't in any key moments whenever that happened. So I have been playing my PlayStation 5 quite a bit. Haven't been playing exclusives, I guess, as much as I should have been, because I know a lot of people are like, "Well, they have these great exclusives you need to be playing," and I'm like, yeah, but there's also these other great games that I already own. So, obviously I'm going to play those too.
Yeah. This is the thing. The issue at the moment is there's just not a lot PlayStation wise happening at the moment. We're in that lull period, as I was just saying, because there's a lot going on in the Xbox Activision world at the moment. And not so much in the PlayStation world, apart from Jim Ryan dancing around the world, pleading to save us all from Xbox having major control of the games industry, making things more expensive for us gamers, Jim the Defender.
And I guess my whole opinion on that thing is if Jim Ryan just doubled down on many of these IPs that Sony has that are shelved, they wouldn't even have to worry about Call of Duty, because they have a lot of great IPs that haven't been touched since the PS2 or PS3 era, But I mean, that's a conversation for another day, obviously. That could fill up an entire podcast by itself,
True.
Talking about Jim Ryan and ABK, that goes straight into our first topic. Well, not necessarily the ABK deal, but Activision. Activision reaffirms a full premium Call of Duty release for 2023. Of course, it is being worked on by Sledgehammer Games, and soon after, Jason Schreier responded to Activision's statement by saying that Call of Duty 2023 will be developed by Sledgehammer Games and is year 2 of Modern Warfare 2. So it's a full-size game, and I do not believe it is the Modern Warfare 2 expansion. And the last game that they worked on by themselves was Call of Duty. Well, I mean, if you want to say by themselves, it's actually Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, because the bigger these projects get, of course, they have, they have different studios helping them. So it was Advanced Warfare 2014 they did by themselves, and then World War II by themselves, and then after that, of course, they're assisting Infinity Ward. I do want to talk about this, but I also want to mention that when you look at it and look at how many of the Activision internal studios are working on Call of Duty, it almost feels like a waste, because you have a lot of these studios that were making great games back in the day, and they're like 3-4 studios are working on one Call of Duty game, like Call of Duty Vanguard. Sledgehammer took the lead, but it was assisted by Treyarch, High Moon Studios, Beanox, and Raven Software. So you had 5 studios working on one game, and by themselves. And this is a big reason why I think a lot of people want to see ABK go through, is because under Xbox, that's not going to be the case. They might have 1 or 2 studios like Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer working on Call of Duty. And then, of course, Treyarch, High Moon, Beanox, they can go and do their own thing, which will bring back some of these franchises, But a lot of people are happy about Call of Duty, and a lot of people are really looking forward to it. Call of Duty 2023, BMG, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you don't care at all, and 10 being you're you're super excited for it. How much are you looking forward to this new Call of Duty in 2023?
1.
I see, because Destiny does it for you, or Destiny 2. I get it.
It's hard because I used to love Call of Duty games. Not so much for the campaign. I did enjoy the multiplayer side of it. I thought they did it very well. Played well. It was great. You could work as a team, and most people worked as a team. Got your odd rogue Chuck Norris guy running off. But I stopped playing at Black Ops 3 because after that, I soon realised as I got older that my skills of coordination, hand to eye, was not as good as it used to be. So I was kind of like the bait that ran around luring people out while I just got shot to death. So, so I kind of dropped off it then, and I thought, right, now this isn't working. It's clearly I'm no good at this anymore, and I didn't really play it for the campaigns, so I dropped off it, and I was very tempted to pick up Modern Warfare 2. Very, very tempted. So close tempted to go for it, but just something was telling me, no, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So I didn't bother. I tried giving Warzone 2 a shot. I just got annihilated straight away. I didn't understand the gulag thing where I just got killed in that and I was out of the game. So I gave up on that rather quickly. But it's hard because it's like in the financial call, they're saying, it's a premium Call of Duty coming out in 2023. So when you say premium Call of Duty 2023, that to anyone, to us or anyone else would say a brand new game. That is a new game that's coming out, a new game in the franchise. And the fact that it's a different studio that's doing it. So do we say Sledgehammer Games are doing it, or do we say Treyarch? Sledgehammer. Yeah. Sledgehammer Games is doing it. So it's different studio. It shouldn't be their turn this time, because it should have been Treyarch this time, if I remember rightly. So we just had Modern Warfare 2, so it'd be Treyarch next. So the fact that they're doing it, and I know Jason Schreier is saying, this is just year 2 DLC, but it's like, well, why aren't they referring to it as that in the company? This is a full premium expansion to Modern Warfare 2, and put it that way across instead of it's a full premium new game, because it's confusing. I think things may change as we go into it. I'm wondering if it's more with everything that's going on with the acquisition side. Maybe it's they're trying to be vague until they have a better idea of what's going on. I don't know, but from the wording that Activision puts it, I would say it's a new title by a studio, so it's the next title in the series. Which would be Black Ops, wouldn't it? So it would be
you would think,
5, So I even though I know Schreier has come out and said no, it's more likely the DLC, but I actually think it's going to be the new Black Ops game, because whether this deal goes through or not for the acquisition, they're going to want something big to try and draw something in, because if the deal doesn't want to go through, they're going to get a big chunk of money from Microsoft, but then puts Activision in a state where stock's going to plummet, because it's going to work well, so they're going to need something big to pull the numbers back in, try and get the share prices back up. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not kind of in that sort of world to understand any of that. But I think we will. It's going to be in the new title. I think we're going to get the new Black Ops game. I think we still may get some expansion or something from Modern Warfare 2 mid-year, maybe. But it just seems if you're going to charge $70 for it, and then I think it says what $29.99 for the zombie add-on. It's like it can't just be an expansion. You can't charge that amount of money just for a story expansion. No. Don't agree with it.
No, I mean I agree with you. I pre-ordered Modern Warfare 2. I played it. I played multiplayer for maybe a week. I deleted it off my hard drive, and that's coming from someone who absolutely loved Call of Duty back during the PS3, Xbox 360 era. Call of Duty was badass. I loved Battlefield as well. Both of them have pretty much dropped off. Yeah, some people are saying, well, Battlefield 2042 is in a much better state. And I'm like, it should have been that way from the get-go. You shouldn't need a year or more to get a game where it should have been at launch. And it feels like Battlefield really needs to they really need to figure out what they're doing with that franchise. And with Call of Duty, it kind of feels the same way. I know there might be people that listen to this that are pissed off, but I think that Call of Duty needs to rest. They need to shelve it for a bit and focus on other franchises, other games, just because Call of Duty feels like it's running out of road. How much more can you possibly do? You're talking about a sequel to Black Ops, right? Black Ops was in 80. So what you're going to do, Black Ops 2 and Call of Duty Cold War was in 80, or what was it, like 88 or some shit. So it's like eventually you're going to catch up with where Black Ops 2 was. And it just feels like they're just trying to, they're running out of space as far as where in the timeline they can make these games. And how many times can you make World War II games over and over and over again?
Yeah.
Something my son brought up, because he's a gamer as well, and he loves World of Warships. He said, why do they not make any Call of Duty games that are about naval warfare? Why, like submarine warfare in World War II, or a war with these battleships or something like that? I think they could have some type of Call of Duty spinoff where you focus on, it's a Call of Duty campaign, but it's a sailor's a sailor's story, and of course it goes back and forth between the British sailors and Russian sailors or whatever, just their war between each other, in the Atlantic, or the Nazis or whoever. But you if you change the focus and give it a new fresh focus, it doesn't have to be anything land based. It could all be naval warfare, but if you do it right, there's still a lot of opportunity left there. But every Call of Duty is guys running on the ground and shooting at each other. And yeah, you can say some of it's in tanks, but that's like what, maybe 1 or 2%, right?
So is that the Warzone that uses the vehicles, or does the normal multiplayer use them now?
I think I'm not sure. I know I've seen it in regular multiplayer that uses it. I think you can use it now in Warzone.
Okay.
But my whole point is there's so much more to warfare than just guys running on the ground. And I mean, you look at how intense naval warfare can be. Look at how many movies they've made about naval warfare. If done right with a good storyline, you could 100% have a Call of Duty spinoff that would give them much more content and another 10 years of games that would have people interested in wanting to buy them.
Yeah. Or even do a smaller title. Have your main title, is the usual October, November release date of the game that we all know, and then have maybe, even if it's a little bit of a smaller title, because you've got that many studios on Call of Duty doing what you say, whether it's air or water or underwater, hell, let's go space. Let's do space. Let's do something different, something that might get people excited to do something different. You could even have it tied to the other game if you wanted. What was that game? It's a big online game, still going now. It's a PC game, and then they brought out a console game where it was on the ground, but what went on the ground or in space affected each other.
That would be good.
EVE Online.
Okay.
Remember they got EVE Online. It's the big space. You go to different planets, do all different things.
Yeah.
And they brought out a console game where you pretty much you were the troops on the ground.
Yeah.
And what was happening on the planets that you were fighting the wars on affected stuff that was going on with people in EVE Online, the main game, and stuff that was happening in there affected what was happening on the planets and stuff. Like if a ship came past and dropped bombs, and I think the ground game it didn't last long. I think more people were more interested in just going through space and doing stuff, because it's more like a space sim than anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good idea. It was like, they advertised it, what happens here affects both games. And it's like, that's a really good concept. But I think they struggled to put it more into practice. I don't think it worked as well as they thought it would. But it'd be a good idea because now technology's moved on a bit. Cloud gaming's a lot better. I'm sure they could figure something out now where
Yeah.
what you do in one game can affect the other game, or Warzone go into that. It'd be cool. Different direction.
And it's like I know Call of Duty is a big earner, but you have to evolve the franchise at least a little bit. Utilizing things like you're talking about, where you have battles in different areas, but they're going to affect one another. You need to evolve it if you want it to survive, and I don't know if Activision under its current leadership can do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, if it's got to change. It's going to take new leadership, which we hope is going to happen with Microsoft. I know we're a PlayStation show, but at the end of the day, Activision wants to sell, and if Xbox can't get them, you can have Tencent, Saudis. Someone else is going to be sniffing around, or they might get to the point where Activision says, "Let's just split up the company and sell it."
Yeah, and
Do
you
it
know
that
what?
way.
I think if ABK doesn't go through, that is probably going to suffer the same fate as THQ back in the what was that, like 2011, 2012, something like that,
Yeah.
where everything just gets sold off. It's like if this deal doesn't go through, that's what's going to happen.
I think PlayStation would try for the Call of Duty IP. If it doesn't go through, I bet they would take the IP in studios or
Yeah.
try. Or just get the IP and then buy the studios after acquiring the IP. I don't know if that's possible or not. We'd have to have our resident lawyer Luke on to kind of tell us that. I've just had this image in my head, and I can't get it out of my head. It's just playing over and over again. And I could really do with someone who knows how to Photoshop somebody on a video. Right?
Wow.
Do you know? There's that song, and I can't remember the name of the song or who sings it. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's that one where it goes, "Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never
Rick
gonna run
Astley.
around." That's
Yep.
it. I could just imagine get someone to Photoshop him as Jim Ryan, just doing that little bit.
Wow.
It's just in my head, and
Oh my God.
I'm gonna try and figure that out. I'm gonna
I'm
speak.
sure someone on Twitter can do that.
I'm gonna speak to my son because my son he's doing a lot of designing stuff and putting stuff together for GTA Online now.
Yeah.
It's what he gets paid to do, which is quite a cool job for
Nice.
him. So I wonder if I could get him, see if he could mess with something for me. But if not, I'm going to put some out on Twitter, see if I can figure it, because that would just be hilarious. That is what Jim's doing for the
Yeah.
PlayStation family.
Right.
He's never going to desert us. He's never going to give up.
Wow.
Sorry, he just keeps playing in my head. I could just see Jim Ryan with his that laugh. There's that gif where he's just like going. It's just in my head. Oh,
all right. Well, it's all good. It's all good. Moving on from Jim Ryan. Dancing to an '80s song. Wow. Then the new gameplay for Dragon Age Dreadwolf has apparently leaked online, and it's offering everyone a first look at BioWare's RPG sequel in action. Of course, it didn't officially come from BioWare. It came from an anonymous Reddit user who posted the footage on Saturday and claimed that it was captured by a playtester with access to an early alpha build of the game. It's about 20 minutes of gameplay involving one segment dungeon, they wrote. The entire gameplay is set within the Grey Warden Fortress HQ of Weishaupt. They said combat is completely in real time and similar to a hack and slash. I'm told the gilding reference point was the God of War 2018. So, regarding Dragon Age Dreadwolf and its combat leaning heavily towards the new God of War series, does that excite you more for Dragon Age, or are you kind of like, oh, I wish they would stay with the way combat used to be?
No. I'm see. I like the Dragon Age series. I played them all, enjoyed them. Really good games. The Inquisition was very underrated, I think. But the issue when it came out, they took a bit. Did bit of a different direction, but there was a lot of bugs, there was a lot of issues.
Yeah.
The facial animations were just freaky. It was like it made Mass Effect Andromeda's look good. It was that bad. But no, I've never been a big fan of the turn-based combat. I'd rather just right, there's a group of enemies or 4 or 5 enemies. I just want to run over, fight, destroy, kill, not right, run forward, stand in a line, and then take turns in turn-based combat. It just feels too slow paced for me. But I'd rather I like the idea of a bit of the God of War sort of combat where you run in, hack and slash, do special moves and abilities and things like that. I prefer that, and I've enjoyed them all. They are the long games. They're not short by any stretch of the imagination, and they are hard. But it's cool, choices you make affects the story, and there's different endings and things like that. I think the latest one it was 1 or 2 endings, if I remember rightly. But it was good, really, really good game. I did enjoy it, and been waiting on a new one for quite a long time now. I'd rather they gone in a completely different direction. The main bad guy in this, I never liked him through the game. It just seemed stuck up. But he just like not a boring character. I found him very boring. His story was boring. And he just, spoilers for Dragon Age Inquisition, but he comes with you on your journey, and at the very end, he pretty much turns on you, and he's the main bad guy for the next game. So if you haven't played it, it is actually on EA Play, so you can pick it up, or it's probably quite dirt cheap on the stores anyway. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, as in that sense. I can't imagine the story being overexciting. The lore of the game is more exciting to me because, you get to pick your different class. I always go as a mage, but mages are a band. They have special places they have to go, and and if you go as mage, you kind of look down upon by other people, and walking through the street, people shouting comments at you and things like that. It's good how they do it and how they react depending on the character you play. But we could just do with some official now, because that pre-alpha footage was from a couple of weeks ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
So and it's in quite a playable state. I would say we're probably in for a reveal this year. Whether it'll be EA's own standalone show, or if they will, whoever's got the marketing rights, maybe PlayStation, maybe Xbox, have got the right to show it, market it. We might see it there. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Dragon Age is a good series, and it's I think it's very underrated. I don't think many people actually talk quite highly of it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I have played Dragon Age. I think I played Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Origins. It was, in my opinion, it was okay. It wasn't, in my opinion, it was nowhere near as good as Mass Effect. But, it doesn't necessarily have to be. It's not directly competing with it. But in my opinion, it just wasn't a series that I could really stick with. Now, I haven't checked out Dragon Age Inquisition, the most recent one. I do plan on doing it. But as far as right now, the old way of combat just didn't feel as good as the God of War combat. So hearing that they have switched to the God of War style of combat does have me a little more excited for this title than I was.
Yeah.
It is something I'm looking forward to, though, and I do want to check out Dragon Age Inquisition, so at least I understand a little more about the Dragon Age world.
Yeah. Inquisition was this way to do something a bit different. I think Dragon Age 2 is actually seen as the best in the series, which I agree with. I do agree with. But Inquisition was good. It was a bit different. And again, it's like you can romance any character. You can sleep with any character, whether it be male, female, or part animal, whatever you fancy. It's it's all to play for. But yeah, it was a good game. It was a good game. The story, was all right. Not the best, not the worst. It was it served its purpose, but it was more like say it's the lore of the games that are more interesting. I found in all the games that the side content was more interesting, the side quests, and I'm not really one for side quests. I just tend to like to get in, just do the story, get done, and then move on to the next game. Whereas like the Skyrim, you get hooked on the side quests and things because they just keep popping up from nowhere. But with Dragon Age, I find the side quests are more interesting in the actual story and the characters you meet and, missions and that you do for other people. I just find more interesting. Yeah. You need to play it. You do need to play it.
Yeah, it's like I know it's on Game Pass. I don't know if it's on PlayStation Plus Premium because I do have PS Plus Premium. And I'm always looking for games to check out on PlayStation, obviously.
No, it's not PlayStation. You'd have to get EA Play on PlayStation to get it. But to be honest, you get it included on your Xbox. I would just play it over there, to be fair.
Yeah, that's definitely a title I'm going to check out. Speaking of titles, on PS4, they are removing the original lineup of
PS5.
Yeah, the PS5 games. They had classics, I guess, the PS Plus collection, and they are removing them so you can now, well, once they expire, I guess, you're not going to be able to download these anymore, which is kind of unfortunate. It's I know a lot of people have been complaining about this, and I get it. You got games like Days Gone, Monster Hunter World, God of War, Fallout 4, Black Ops, Detroit Become Human, Black Ops 3. There's just a number of games. There's 20 of them. They're really good games to have, especially for those that are they bought a PS5, they maybe didn't own one before, and so they didn't have a lot of titles to play on that console. And you had some people that were Xbox gamers before this, so games like God of War 2018 and Days Gone, they didn't necessarily get to play. So this lineup obviously gave them an extensive collection to play on their PS5. Now, granted, these were PS4 games, but it's just them taking it away and saying, "Hey, after May 9th, you're not going to have these anymore." It's obviously upsetting a lot of people, and I completely get that. What are your feelings on PlayStation having to remove these titles for whatever reason?
Well, I think all the people that are complaining are just babies, to be fair. It's horrible. They are removing it. It's a shame that it's going away. But the problem is that literally all them games are in PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium. Mainly, most of them are in Extra. But and a lot of people seem to be missing this, and I don't understand. If you're in the PlayStation ecosystem, you know how your PlayStation Plus works. You add the games to your library. They're always there. You don't have to download them. You add them to your library. You've got them. As long as you have a PlayStation Plus subscription, you'll always have access to them. This is the exact same. If you have not played all them games or you've only played a handful of them games, you can literally go on now, add every single one of them to your library, and even after they remove the collection, they will all still be in your library as long as you have a PlayStation Plus subscription, whether that's the essential bottom tier, what you've always had, or you've got extra. But the majority of them games anyway are actually moved already into the PS Plus extra tier anyway.
Yeah.
So you're always going to have access to them. Yeah, it sucks if you're still on a PlayStation 4 and you haven't got a PlayStation 5 yet, and when you do, that collection's going to be gone. But they are literally all going to be pretty much in PlayStation Plus anyway. You didn't, and it's not like some they said was going to be around forever. It was just an incentive they offered for people. Whether you transition into a PlayStation 5, you can play these PS4 games in better resolution FPS, or if you've already got you've got the PlayStation 5. It's just a little bit of a nice bonus to have access to them if you have the PlayStation Plus subscription service anyway. So it's bad. It sounds bad that they're removing it, but essentially it's not bad because they're already in the subscription service and you just have to add them to your library. In fact, oh no, you can't. I was going to say if you got PlayStation 4, you could add them, but you can't. You have to have the PlayStation 5 to have access to it. But to be fair, it's been, we're nearly 2.5 years into the life cycle. So it's not like they only put it up for the first 6 months and took it away. It's been going for over 2 years. So it's probably stayed up a lot longer than they would have done in the first place. So I don't see the problem with it. I don't think it's an issue because literally most people are going to find when they go into the extra tier or the premium tier, the games are going to be in there anyway. And there's even more games in there. There's even more first-party games in there. Ghost of Tsushima is in the PS Plus extra tier. Brilliant game, absolutely brilliant. And you can play the PlayStation 5 version as well. You've got Death Stranding. You get the PlayStation 5 version. God of War, I think it runs at better 60 frames, I think. God of War 2018.
Yeah.
So it's just one of them. It sucks, but if you have a PlayStation 5 and you haven't already, just add them to your library and you'll always have access to them as long as you got PlayStation Plus. But it's just one of them. They have to keep maintaining it. I don't understand all that. I'm not an engineer or a game developer or on that side of stuff. I don't know how it works, but I'm assuming people, whoever works on the store, have to make sure that runs bug-free, fine, and no issues. But why keep paying people to do that when you could have them doing other things, improving the store or helping in other areas or whatever? It's not really needed now, that collection. I would say 90% at least of PlayStation gamers have played all the big titles on there that they wanted to play.
Yeah.
And if not, add them to your library. It's easy. Stop complaining about it, people.
I know, right? And, you look at a lot of these titles, and they're all PlayStation 4 titles. It's not PS5 titles. And a lot of these games, I mean, if you're really looking at it realistically, you can pick these games up for like $5 a piece, at GameStop or on Amazon. If it goes away and you don't have it anymore, I mean, worst case scenario, you can always pick them up for really cheap. None of these games are super modern. And when I say super modern, I mean from like 2019 on. Except for maybe Detroit Become Human. But most of these games are older games. Like you said, most of the people have played them already. And a lot of the negativity, that we've been hearing about this it's a very small group of gamers. The majority of the gamers, like you said, they've either downloaded these or they've already played them or they own them already, so it's not too big of a deal. Now, obviously, if PlayStation starts, taking out a lot of the games from PlayStation Plus, that you can't download anymore, like the PlayStation Plus Premium, then I would say it might be a cause for concern. But regarding these, I'm looking at them, and I think I own almost every single one of them anyway. I bought them, so it's not that big of an issue. Just people blowing things out of proportion is what it is. Yeah,
I'm not too sure. If someone in the chat can have a look and correct me if I'm wrong. If it's in the service now, it allows you to add it to your library. And as far as I think I'm aware, you are still able to access that game even after it's removed out the service. That's what I understand it as, because you go on to the service, you click a game, you can just add it to your library. So I'm assuming that you can still have access to it even after it's removed from the service. I could be wrong. If someone could double check that for me, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
In the article on Video Game Chronicles, it says games can still be redeemed until this date and will be available after to users who remain PlayStation Plus subscribers.
Yeah.
So as long as you download it by that date, you should be good. afterwards.
Well, yeah, you don't even have to download it. You just have to add it to your library. There's
Yeah.
you could add, a lot of people will, even if they never intend on playing the game, they'll just add it to the library because then
Yeah.
it's always there. Then,
Exactly.
but yeah, you literally, you're just going to see any game, any of them PS Plus collection that isn't in the PS Plus service. I think you're just going to see it transition over to there. I think it's just condensing it. Get rid of that now. All the initial people who wanted a PlayStation 5 have got one. We're 2.5 years in. Let's just do away with it now and move any games that aren't already in the PS Plus service, just move it into there. I just think people have made a big deal out of something that there isn't really big deal to make out of it, if I'm honest. It's strange. It's strange, but yeah, it's and probably half your people that are kicking off probably wouldn't even play him anyway.
Probably not. Well,
I'm never
some
gonna
good
play it. I just don't want it taken away from me.
the good gamers, the people that are actually gamers and not just complainers, already know the deal, and they're probably not complaining about it anyway. So
yeah, don't be a complainer. Don't be a complainer. Be a gamer.
That's exactly right. Good news for PS Plus gamers is the February lineup looks really solid for the games they're giving away. They are giving away Mafia: The Definitive Edition, Destiny 2 Beyond Light, Evil Dead the Game, and Ollie Ollie World. Now, obviously, Destiny 2 Beyond Light, it's a free DLC, and of course, Destiny 2 is free. So you can download this DLC, you download Destiny 2, which is free, and you can play it. Mafia: The Definitive Edition is the PS4 version. Ollie Ollie World is both PS4 and PS5 versions. Evil Dead the Game, of course, PS4 and PS5 versions. And obviously Beyond Light is PS4 and PS5 as well. Are you downloading any of these? Do any of these interest you? Aside from the Destiny one, I'm sure you already bought it. But the other titles in this lineup, do any of them really interest you?
I'm done with Evil Dead. We over on XBN, we all got it. I think that's when I first started. That's the first time I actually gamed with Redders, Jinner, and Ash.
Right.
Is Evil Dead. I'd seen them online because we had them on Xbox, and they said, "Oh, that's cool. I've got it as well." And it's like, "Yeah, jump in and join." And we had a right good laugh, and it was fun. But there was not really anything new. The maps are all the same. I know they've added more content since, but not enough for me to go back. And they've actually added a battle royale, and I thought I might actually re-download it to check it out.
Right.
But it's broken and buggy as hell. So it's like, no, I'm not even gonna bother. It's like trying to milk what's left of the license. So, So Evil Dead, no, because I've already got it. But I would probably add it to my library anyway, if I'm gonna play it or not. Because hell, got it on Xbox, might as well have it on PlayStation as well. Ollie Ollie World, never played it. Not something that really interests me. Mafia Definitive Edition, that's a definite. I've not played, I remember buying that day one. Because it used to be, I think if I remember rightly, The Godfather came out, part one came out, the game as well, about the same time. And they were both, it was which gangster game are you going to go for? And I got both. But yeah, I'm going to add that to it. And Beyond Light, I already own. So, but always add him to your library, whether you intend to play him or not. What about you? Is there anything on there you're going to get?
Yeah, I actually, I believe last night I already downloaded I added the Beyond Light DLC to my library. And then, of course, I downloaded Ollie Ollie World and Mafia: The Definitive Edition. I thought about Evil Dead, but I had heard a lot of people say about the buggy servers and about how it just it didn't interest a lot of people anymore. And I'm not the type of guy anymore really to play the Evil Dead types of games, where it's basically different people competing against one person or whatever. It just doesn't interest me.
Yeah, do you remember Friday the 13th?
Yes. Yep.
It's sort of heading that way. The matchmaking can be a bit iffy. It's all right when you get in a game, but then it gets very stale, because all these different characters are running around the map and you're playing the bad, the bad guy, and you're trying to find them, and it can be a bit of a nightmare. You can be wandering around for ages before you see one person, and yeah. But it's worth adding to the library. But yeah, I think that game's kind of coming to its end. I think this battle royale they added was just trying to breathe some new life in it, and I don't think it's worked. If I'm honest, I've not heard anyone talk about it. Put it that way.
And it seems like everybody wants to put a battle royale game in every single title that is out there, and not every title needs it. I think Evil Dead the game and games like Friday the 13th, the 4 versus 1 format is good. The battle royale game or battle royale format for that type of game, I don't think that's going to work. I just don't, because it ruins the suspense, is what it does.
I hope we get a battle royale in Spider-Man 2.
Oh,
That'd
Jesus!
Awesome. Can you imagine? That'll be awesome. But you get all the villains and all the heroes, so you can pick between multiple. That'd be so cool.
Frame rate would bottom out at like 10 frames per second. It would be horrible.
No, PlayStation has no limits, remember. It can handle anything it's chucked at it.
Yeah, until it catches on fire. Yep. No, but about these games, though, I did like Mafia. I actually bought Mafia on the Xbox way back in the day. I don't know if I still have it. It was disc-based. I didn't buy the digital version. So having this on the PS4, I'm definitely going to play it. I think they did a great job. Because if you remember from the PS2 era, how Mafia looked when it came out, people thought at the time it was revolutionary, but you look at it now and you're kind of like, wow, that's rough. So they did a really good job cleaning that up for the definitive edition, and I think for anyone, obviously, who has not played Mafia, don't go into it expecting it to be like Grand Theft Auto. It's much more linear, but it is a great story. It is a great story. And for anyone who's a PS Plus member, if you love story-based games, Mafia Definitive Edition should be the first one you download. It was the first one I downloaded.
Yeah. It's definitely worth having. And even if you're not going to play them, just add them to your library so you've got them.
Exactly.
Speaking of PlayStation, though, have you actually cleaned yours out yet?
What do you mean clean it out? Like use the air can and
where you got to take the face plates off and take the cover off it. God, how much dust does them things collect?
Quite a bit.
I can't believe it. Jeez,
yeah. A few months ago, I had because mine is still new. I got it in December. I got it for Christmas, but I also got I guess 2 terabyte hard drive that I had to install. So I cleaned it out. Just I clean them out if I have to do any work on my consoles. Because it's like force of habit. I clean them out, just to make sure that it's clean. That way, when I put it back where it's gonna be, it can sit there for 6 months and I don't have to clean it.
Yeah. Do it proper. I need to do that to my Xbox controller. I've got stick drift on the right analog stick, and I've got a toolkit. I need to take it apart and try and figure out why it's doing it.
Yeah,
it's a bit annoying, and it's like the release launch controller as well. So I don't want to get rid of it. We'll see if I can fix it first.
Right. Something interesting you had said about them taking away those games, about how most of the people who, most of the gamers have already played those, right? But there's actually an article that says 30% of monthly active users on PS5 have never owned a PS4, according to Sony, which could kind of indicate why some of these people are a little aggravated. This article, which is VCG, says, let me see, the claim of nearly 30% monthly active users on PS5 never owned a PS4 was shared as part of a company presentation discussing its Q3 2022 results for this financial year, the period ending in December 2022, in which Sony noted that the percentage of monthly active users increased by around 30% in December. In addition, it said nearly 30% of PS5's monthly active users are users who never use the PS4. So with the spread of PS5, the acquisition of new users is progressing. Now, it's interesting that they came out with this, because that could indicate why some people were legitimately upset about them removing those 20 titles, or 19 titles, actually. Very interesting. What do you think about this statistic that Sony released? And when I say what do you think about it, I mean, what do you think about it in regards to where these people were gaming before?
Yeah, well, it's a big number. 30% of active users never use a PlayStation 4. Did they just fall out of gaming? Were they on the Xbox and decided to move over, or have they bought it as a second console? They bought it as a second one. But yeah, because it's like, and they also say no in the article that the PlayStation have said that they've kind of the shortage is over now. The
Yeah,
PlayStation 5 is readily available everywhere now, which I have seen a few actually. I was in my local game store recently, and
yeah.
they got I think they had like 7 or 8 in stock, and nobody pre-ordering them or trying to reserve them. So yeah, I think they're more readily available, but maybe I don't necessarily think people have just come off Xbox and gone onto PlayStation. I think it's been bought as a second console. I could
Yeah.
imagine a lot of people have got the Series S and have waited until they've been able to get hold of a PlayStation 5 and bought that. So then the Xbox becomes the secondary console.
But they're talking about last generation though, because they said none of those
Yeah.
people owned a PS4. And if you think, what were their numbers for PS4? 125 million.
Yeah.
So
Well,
so
you could.
they're so
Yeah.
they're saying 30% of people that own a PS5 never owned a PS4. So were they Xbox
Mm,
gamers, Nintendo gamers? It would be interesting to see where those people gamed before they gamed on
yeah.
PlayStation 5.
Yeah, because all they've said is it's unique PlayStation IDs, haven't they? So yeah, it's
Yeah.
unique users. So it's like, yeah, they could have been PS2, PS3, gone on then switched to Xbox or switched to Nintendo, or there could have been PC players that, you got to think of all the games that have come out over PC recently.
Yeah.
Maybe people have decided instead of having to wait a year down the line or near enough a year down the line to play these first party games, picking up PlayStations. I suppose that I suppose a percentage could come from there, get them straight come from PC. They're just buying a PlayStation to play the games instead of having to wait for the PC versions.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of games that have now switched over, and still a lot of games that haven't yet that um, PC fans probably want to play. So I don't know. It's hard to tell. If they've just not bothered with PlayStation 4, come straight to PlayStation 5. I'm assuming a lot of people got them for the kids at Christmas. Maybe it's the first time of having a console
Yeah.
ever in the PlayStation. That's probably going to that's going to play a factor into it as well. But
That's true.
I would say it's more of people buying them for kids who are coming into gaming, and I would say the majority though would be PC gamers picking up the PlayStation to, maybe get double dip, play it when it comes out, and then a year later pick it up again for PC to play at the 1,000 frames or whatever the PCs can do these days.
Yeah, I'm sure. Luke Steele's PC can probably do it.
Yeah.
1,000 frames per second. Yeah.
Playing Last of Us Part 1 while doing playing
Yeah,
Minesweeper on the other side of the screen.
1,000 frames per second, 8K with ray tracing on. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. Sorry, Stubbs. What's he? Stubbs has put. I don't buy PC gamers buying PS5, but a few of these people were locked out of their PSN accounts. I don't know. It's just. Again, we don't know the facts.
Yeah.
It's only guessing because now more first party games are coming to PC. It's giving these games are hitting a wider audience. You're probably, I'm not saying there's many or a lot, but there's probably a few that are picking up a PlayStation 5 to be able to experience these games before, instead of having to wait a year, and also be able to use the DualSense can connect to PC, so you can use that as well. It's only a guess. We can only assume. I don't like if it was coming from the Xbox side. I would assume it's people who've got a Series S that want a PS5 as the main and the Series S as the Game Pass machine. Or Pete, like myself, I've got a Series X and then picked up a PlayStation 5. So, there's a number of possibilities. It's probably come from multiple different places, but still 30% is a big number. It's a big number of new users.
Yeah, and it would be interesting if they could find out. But like Stubbs said, some of these people could have been locked out of their accounts. But 30%, I don't know if 30% of people are going to be locked out of their accounts unless it's something PlayStation is doing wrong.
Yeah, it's a bit hard. I remember I had to. Funny enough, I could put. Would I no? Because I've already had mine a year. I had PlayStation 4. I've had all the Xboxes, all the PlayStations, and when I was on PS4, my PSN account, got hacked 3 times on the trot, and PlayStation after the third time permanently banned my account. And so I lost everything, all my digital goods, the money that was in my wallet, all my games, everything gone. So when that happened, that's when I switched off there onto the Xbox One. So went onto Xbox, and then I decided to go Series X to start, and then obviously when got the chance to get a PlayStation, and started a new account from there. And I've not, luckily on either, I've not had any issues on that side of it. But yeah, so I would technically be classed as a new user because I had to start a full new PSN account because they took mine away forever. But yeah, I don't think I fall into them numbers because I had mine before the dates. Because what was the dates? Was it over the Christmas period? November? I've lost the thing now. It's gone. So yeah, I had it. My phone's it needs updating, but I can't update it, so it's just playing up. But yeah, I think you could. There's always that up. I don't think there'll be many in that sort of category that have lost their account and had to start again. But it's a possibility. But it's still good. Whatever it is, it's still good that they're seeing quite an increase in new users. The fact that now you can buy the console quite readily, the shortage is over. And that goes, Carls, in hand with, they did that whole, did you see the PlayStation 5 news thing? Where all around the world, they've got all these, it's all over Twitter on the PlayStation account. They've literally got, like in London, there's a Leviathan axe in central London. There's a dinosaur from Horizon in, is it Switzerland? Thor's hammers in America. I think they've, from God of War, they've got all these different things from the different games all over the world. And the shot, it's like this little TV news thing they're doing from PlayStation 5 headquarters or something like that. And if you actually watch the trailer for it, where it's showing them off, you get a glimpse at other games, like Spider-Man 2, you get a bit of that. You see a bit of God of War, a bit of Horizon, and seen floating around. People think that there's like a small clip where you see this female like brushing away some sort of archaeological thing. People thinking that's Uncharted 5, Nathan Drake's daughter. So, bit of a tease for what's to come as well, maybe. But yeah, it's all good. It's all good. And I think the base is just going to keep climbing. Oh, Sentinel. Oh, I think we lost Sentinel.
Sorry, I'm here.
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah, for some reason my mic completely disconnected from my thing. I don't know. I gotta figure out why it did that later. But because here I am, I'm talking and I'm responding to you, and I can't hear it, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, sorry about that.
Didn't hear out. No, you're right, mate. You're all right. Didn't hear a thing you said.
Yeah, no, it's good. All I was gonna say is, PlayStation is being very smart with their marketing. And it kind of feel, I know Xbox has they have a much bigger budget for this type of stuff, but it feels like PlayStation, it's like they don't have to spend as much, but they're a lot more marketing savvy as far as how they market their games, their consoles, just their brand,
Yeah.
And it's like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I want a state of play. And it's like, you got to give PlayStation time because they know what they're doing, and when they're ready to show something, they're going to show something. And yes, people get worked up because especially right now in gaming, in modern gaming, people want like monthly updates on stuff. And it's like, when you're building a game that takes 4 or 5 years, it's not going to be like that. But when you do get bits of news, it is kind of like a breath of fresh air for a lot of people. One of those pieces of news that we got recently was that Insomniac's Wolverine game is actually reportedly targeting a mature rating, which is good because their previous and the current game that they're working on, Spider-Man 2, and the previous games, Miles Morales and, of course, Spider-Man, they were rated T for teen. And so to have Wolverine really targeting a mature rating, it shows that Insomniac is really leaning heavily into what makes Wolverine a memorable comic book character. Let me see. In this bit of news that came out, it says, according to Giant Bomb reporter Jeff Grubb, who shared supposed details in the in-development project during a live stream on Thursday, Insomniac's Wolverine game is reportedly targeting a mature rating and could release as soon as next year. Now, I know a lot of people are saying that right now the 2023 lineup for PlayStation is a little light, but again, like we've said, they post things when they're ready, and this is kind of one of the faults that Xbox has. They basically showed off like, hey, we have 20 different games that are in the work in some stages. Once you do that and you announce, hey, I have a game, then people are going to be like, hey, it's been 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Where's this game at? But if you don't announce those and you do what PlayStation is doing and only announce stuff when they're ready, you don't have people constantly asking you about this or that. You're only giving them what you want them to have. And I feel like this bit of information regarding Wolverine was exactly what people needed to hear. Is Wolverine a title that you're looking forward to? And if they would have made it a rated T game, would you have been interested in picking it up?
Well, yeah, Wolverine is just one of them characters where it's like Deadpool. Anything could go, anything could happen.
Yeah.
And I remember Wolverine that came out for was it PS3? Was it PS?
Yes.
Or it might have been. It was PS3, wasn't it? Early generation.
PS3 and Xbox 360, I believe it was X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yep.
That's it. That was hardcore blood guts. You could actually burn your flesh off and watch it, come back on. It was awesome. Absolute awesome. And the fact that, Marvel, Disney will hopefully grant them that, because it is one of them games. They're doing it with Deadpool. Deadpool had to petition to get that hard rating they did for the films because for Deadpool 2, didn't they? Because obviously Sony owned them, and it took them a lot to get that, because Ryan Reynolds was the only way he would carry on doing it if he could play the character how it was meant to be. And Wolverine's the same. You actually look at the films. Logan's quite bloodthirsty. If you watch that, it really is, and that's how the character is. If they made it a teen game, I wouldn't play it, because that's what I would expect from Avengers or Spider-Man, because they are that more light-hearted characters where it's not about blood, guts, and that sort of thing. And we accept that in them games. But in Wolverine, if you're not slicing people up into pieces, or if you get half your face blown off, you see the insides and then see it grow back, then what's the point? Because that's the character. You've got to take advantage of them things,
Yeah.
And the fact that, it could be earliest fall 2024, it's a good sign, because Insomniac are just machines. They literally they know how to make a game. They know how to make it play. They know how to make games, and they hit every time. Spider-Man 1 hit. Spider-Man 2 we know is going to hit. Ratchet and Clank, such a beautiful game, and that's the first Ratchet and Clank game I ever played. Is Rift Apart, and it just plays. They take advantage of the PlayStation 5, take advantage of the DualSense controller, take advantage of the 3D Pulse headset. The game just looks beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And if they can, with all the tools at their hands and the backing of Sony as well, that they've got the money to put into these games, I don't think we will. I think we're going to see some from Insomniac next year. but I don't think we're going to see Wolverine. I could see Wolverine being fall 2025.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for him to take that time because to be fair, I think you would time it with because Wolverine is actually in the new Deadpool film, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds and Hugh
Yes.
Jackman announced it, and that's for 2025. So I can imagine that they will try and work with Marvel. So obviously, Sony and Marvel seem to work quite well together with, all playing nicey with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I bet we could see it kind of land for when the film's out.
Yeah,
Drop
I
the
think I think that's reasonable, and it doesn't even have to tie into the films. It's just Wolverine coming out at the same time he's in a movie. It's going to be that boost. And it's like they don't need the boost, but it's definitely going to help.
Yeah, because I believe in the film, they sort of asked, well, spoilers for Logan. If you haven't watched it yet, then that's your fault because it's a brilliant film that's been out for a while now.
Yeah.
And I think you can actually watch it on Disney Plus. I think. Yeah, it is on Disney Plus. He dies in it. That's the end of Wolverine. So people are like, well, how the hell can he be in Deadpool? But they have come out and said the film takes place. Was it before he joined the X-Men? Before he met the X-Men?
Ye-
It's earlier in the timeline, isn't it?
yeah, X-Men Origins Wolverine is right before he meets the X-Men. Well, you know what though? Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. At the end of X-Men Origins Wolverine in the movie, he meets Professor X, but in the game, I don't remember off the top of my head. So
Yeah. But I know the film is based before he joins the X-Men, so it's like obviously it's like a prequel to meeting them, I believe. How they're going to make him look younger because he's quite old now. Is Hugh Jackman still looks good for his age, but he's
yeah.
doesn't look like that young guy from the older films. But they'll probably come up with some or other.
Well, and you look at movies like the new Star Wars movies or Rogue One is a good example because they actually used a different actress and they modeled Carrie Fisher's likeness over her. So I
Yeah,
mean you
yeah.
could and it's like you don't even have to use someone other than Hugh Jackman because he still has the build. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
you have his look from back then stored in the computer and you map it on top of the new him and he looks young again. I mean that's pretty much how
Mm.
simple it is. I mean it's obviously a costly process, but if they're going for a younger Wolverine, it's a no-brainer. That's how they're going to do it.
Well, they've done it. I don't know if you've seen the new trailer for Indiana Jones film, which is out this year. They actually do it to Harrison Ford. There's a scene where they're looking back into the past, and you've actually got it's Harrison Ford sat there, but they've like mapped his young Indiana Jones face over him, and it
Yeah.
looks you just can't tell. It just looks like, hang on a minute, how the hell have they de-aged him? So yeah,
Yeah.
they'll probably, I suppose, it can go down that route. And I do believe the game is also set with Wolverine is set before he's met the X-Men as well. So it would quite tie with the film. You'll have that sort of connection in there. But yeah, no, I'm excited for Wolverine. When we saw also the hype trailer and all the little Easter eggs in the CGI trailer, very exciting, and it'd be nice. It'd be a nice change of pace for Insomniac to come off Spider-Man, let Spider-Man have a rest, because obviously we had Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah.
Got Miles Morales launch game on the PS5. We got Spider-Man remastered for the PlayStation 5, which looks amazing. Again, the way they've got the performance ray tracing on that game is absolutely stunning. You could just sit and take pictures all day in the different suits, in different lighting styles. Absolute amazing job that Insomniac have done with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, get 2 out this year, and then give it a rest. Maybe next the year after 2024, do what they did with Miles Morales, a smaller, tight knit game, centered around whether Miles Morales again or a different character in the Spider-Man universe, and then leave Spider-Man for a while, and then jump into Wolverine. But I think it's going to be a 2025 game. I think it's going to release for the film because it makes sense to, while the hype's high for it, why wouldn't you drop it then?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But I mean, it's pacing. A lot of times, pacing will come into pacing kind of comes into consideration when you're thinking about when you want to be advertising certain properties and how much advertising you want to happen before a product releases, whether it's a movie, a television show, a video game. You have to pace it. You can't just shadow drop something like that, especially if you want serious numbers.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You've got to. You just want to get. You just got to be on that hype cycle, and you've got to get it just right. I would let the film drop, get the hype of the way out the film, let people watch it. Oh, and by the way, Wolverine the game on PlayStation 5 drops a month later or something like that. So you people are like, well, the film was amazing or whatever. I've got a PlayStation 5, want to try the game. But to be honest, if you've got a PlayStation 5, you're very much more likely going to pick this up regardless. But it's day one for me. It's day one for me. But I want that R-rated. I want it blood. I want guts. I want you to be able to tear people's limbs off. Proper. You could go all the way. Don't half-arse it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It has to be like that, especially whenever you're talking about a character like Wolverine. And people's biggest complaint when he was in the X-Men movies was that he'd stab a guy with both claws in the chest and pull it out, and his claws are pretty much untouched. It's like, are you serious?
Yeah. See, Insomniac are just the studio to be able to pay that attention to detail. As again, Ratchet and Clank, for example, you play that game, you shove it in 4K mode with ray tracing, and you just turn the camera and zoom in on Ratchet or Clank and look at the detail. You can see the individual hairs on his head.
Yeah.
His fur, every individual hair, and it's all so detailed. It's just, I think this is the perfect studio to tackle it, but you've also run the risk of that is all Insomniac's going to do now is Marvel games, which that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think I'd like to see him tackle something in the Star Wars side of stuff. I think they can make an amazing Star Wars game.
Whatever, and it's like, I agree with you completely, and they're pretty versatile. So it's like whatever property they do tackle, they're going to do it with a lot of respect for the source material, and they're going to do everything they can to really exemplify the best qualities of that IP.
Yeah. And obviously, I know as we know, things have to run through Disney and Marvel, and whatever the story's going to be, it's got to be okayed from everyone and stuff like that. But I think what they've done with Spider-Man, what they've done with Miles Morales, I think's given them a lot of credit and leeway to kind of just take the story in the direction they want. As long as it doesn't cross over too much with anything, I don't think they'll have an issue. Like Marvel's Avengers and Spider-Man, it's you can go to the Avengers Tower, it's referenced, and the reference to being away on a mission or something like that. So you could see them in the games in the future. We could see individual games by them. I know there's a few Captain America, Black Panther games in the works or something along them lines. But it's I think it's like their own universe that they're making, and I think Marvel and Disney are happy just to let them do what they want to a certain extent.
Yeah, Insomniac, obviously, they're very qualified at what they do. And the thing that helps them is they look at what makes a game, or they look at what makes an IP strong, like at a character's values, and they really highlight that in the game that they make. Speaking of respecting an IP's values, the God of War TV series is going to do the same thing. The Last of Us HBO show obviously showed that the people putting that show together really care about the source material And the same can be said for the God of War TV series that's in development by Amazon. Catherine Pope, who is the Sony Pictures TV studio president, told Deadline that Amazon's God of War show is still in the early stages of production. It's not expected to release until next year, but that Pope is impressed by the work that's been done so far, and the team is hard at work on building and expanding the world for the TV series. It's going to retain the video game franchise's values while expanding it in such a way that those who aren't familiar with the games will still be able to enjoy the show. And I think that's going to be great news for a lot of people who love the God of War franchise. You don't want to see something like God of War that's cherished by so many get besmirched, for lack of a better term, and it becomes something it's not meant to be in a television adaptation. Have you seen the Last of Us HBO show, and would you watch a God of War TV series?
Yes. Yeah, Last of Us is absolutely amazing. I know you see in America it's on HBO Max. Is it HBO Max you have?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
yeah. I think we're actually getting HBO Max in the summer this year. I did see something a few months ago pop up about it, so that'd be quite cool. But yeah, over here in the UK, you have to have Now TV or Sky TV. Now TV is owned by Sky anyway, and they are showing the episodes at the same time that they're shown on HBO Max. This week, so I believe to avoid the Super Bowl, because obviously we just had episode 4. Episode 5 is going to air on, is it Friday night for you guys?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
It's about 2:00 in the morning, Saturday morning here. So we're getting like a double episode. 2 episodes in 1 week, which is quite cool. And I am looking forward to watching it. It's been amazing so far. I know a few people in chat, especially Luke, will agree with me that episode 3 was just amazing. Best episode so far, in my opinion. There is a lot of people, I'm not going to name any names or anything like that, but that found it very controversial and didn't like the episode because of what the episode was about. I won't spoil anything or mention anything, but I highly recommend watching it. There's so much production gone into this. The characters are just perfect for the parts, and it's just amazing all around. And God of War, again, it's another one of Sony's, PlayStation's crown jewels, and I think it's going to get the same treatment. Again, the world's going to look beautiful. The TV show's going to look amazing. Amazon are known for putting high budgets in. Look what was it, Lord of the Rings, and that TV show they just did that they cost them billions to do. So I think you're gonna see quite a high budget, I think, for this, because they know it's going to hit very well. It depends who plays the characters, and I do hope Chris Pratt does get to play Kratos. I'd be very disappointed if he's not Kratos.
My God. Okay, you're kicked off the podcast. Hell no, that's it. You're done.
No. This it's because they've got the cast. They know who's going to be in it, but obviously not being announced yet. Which, it's fun to speculate, but you have to find the right character to play them. I know a lot of people with Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal was a bit 50-50 on how it was going to fit, how it was going to look, because, oh no, this character doesn't look like this, and they don't quite how they're going to fit into that. And yet, as soon as people saw that first episode, it was like, yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
These are the perfect characters. So, HBO know what they're doing, and obviously it's all runs through Sony as well, so they all collab together. But yeah, we know it takes place. This is the hard bit. I would say for me, other people that don't really know the games or anything might not even cross their minds. But this TV show is taking place over the 2 new games, God of War 2018 God of War Ragnarok. That is where it's based. Whether they do it in 2 seasons, where 2018 season 1 and Ragnarok season 2, which you would assume they'll probably go down that route. But it's everything that's come before that got in there. How are they going to explain that? Are we going to see flashbacks that kind of incorporate everything that happened? Because it's kind of just weird where all of a sudden you're just in this world where this demigod is, and he's got his son and what have you. And it's like, how's that going to work? Because if you played the games and you know the lore of God of War, you're going to watch the TV show and says, well, that doesn't explain that. That doesn't explain that. Even though we know, because we played the previous games and know the lore, but it's the people that haven't. Will they be confused? Are they going to make it? I'm assuming they're going to make it make sense, and I'm assuming they'll do flashbacks. Is what I would think. Maybe do what Last of Us has done. Again, I'm not spoiling it. I'm not going to say what happens, but at the start of the episode 1, you're getting a flashback of what happened to the point of outbreak. Maybe we get first episode, or majority of the first episode is how they got to where they are. Maybe. That's the hard bit. How do you explain what's gone on and who's the God of War? That's it. We understand it because we've played the games, like I said, but it's like people that haven't. You've got to make it coherent and people understand what's going on. But I'm still excited for it. Whatever they do, it's going to be big. It's going to be high budget, and it's probably going to be amazing because they haven't missed yet. So in a TV show. I've not got my hopes up for Twisted Metal though. That's probably going to be a bag of crap.
I guess watch it. I guess we'll just have to wait and see on Twisted Metal. I think they'll do good with God of War. I agree about the flashbacks thing because there's so much that took place to make Kratos the God of War. They'd have to have it in flashbacks, or him telling a story or a series of stories to Atreus to explain things. But it's hard to cover 3, 4, 5, 6 games in flashbacks. So it's gonna take some very meticulous storytelling on the writer's part in order to craft it where it's not convoluted and where it makes sense to the viewer.
Yeah, you'd have to maybe like for because you're assuming it's going to be an hour episode each. Maybe the first one's a bit longer. Maybe the first episode's an hour and a half. Maybe that first half hour, pretty much do a shorter version of what happened and how he became who he was, and get to where he is. Maybe cover that period. I've just got a feeling they're literally going to go into where there's him, his wife, Atreus, and how she died and that. And I think that's kind of where we're going to hit off from. But we'll see. I'm excited either way. It's I think people have been asking for a God of War TV show or film for years. But have you played Ragnarok yet?
No, I haven't. Unfortunately, no.
I'm not gonna spoil anything like that. But the way that game goes, and there's obviously there's flashbacks and things, and that are different things, and that and how things connect. There's a way they could do it. There's a really good way they could do it. Because as you know, in like God of War 2018 is the same as Ragnarok. There's no breaking camera. There's no fade to black to the next scene. It just keeps on moving because it's not a spoiler. Kratos goes to sleep, right? And I'm not going to tell you how they do it, but they work it absolutely brilliantly where, you literally see Kratos go down to sleep, and how they kind of transition into the next scene without the screen blanking or cutting to go to a different scene. It's amazing. It's amazing how they do it, and they're really, really good. I suppose they could kind of do it that way, where he's having flashbacks while he's asleep, and we're seeing glimpses of what happened that don't tell the full story, but just give you little bits and nuggets all the way through the series. But yeah, looking forward to it. Who would you pick to play Kratos? Who would you like to see play Kratos?
Batista.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I would say Dwayne Johnson back in the day, when he was young, when he was a wrestler. But anymore, I don't know if he could do it. I mean, it's kind of up in the air. I know everyone's saying Christopher Judge, but I'm like, the guy had back surgery and he had hip surgery and a number of other issues. So him playing, you don't want to CGI a Kratos fight. You want a guy that can legitimately fight and throw people around. So Christopher Judge is out. You know what? It's like, if you want him to be the voice, just do a voiceover like they did for Arnold Schwarzenegger in Hercules in New York, where his Austrian accent was too thick and they had to dub a guy over his voice. Just do it that way. You know, there you go.
That's it. There's ways and means of doing it. But yeah, it's hard because, like, it's weird because, like, the height and build that Kratos is, it's quite a hard character to cast someone that's going to fit that kind of perfect. It's
just look at the WWE. There you go. There's your build. There's your guys.
Sami Zayn.
Yep. I mean, you have your pick of guys. You know, it's just which one of them can act, because anybody can get super huge and muscular, but not all of those guys can act. That would be the difficult part.
Could you imagine Brock Lesnar coming in as Kratos and just F5 in everyone?
I think Brock Lesnar would be better as Hercules, because he definitely has the cockiness and arrogance of Hercules. But you know, I doubt the new God of War series is going to be set in ancient Greece. It's going to be set in Norse mythology. No. So
they've already said it's based around the new games. So it's from the Norse mythology side of it. That's where they're starting. But whether they're using going game to game or if they're going to take it in a bit of a different direction, this we don't know. All we know is it's going to stay faithful to the games. But I suppose you could tell a bit of a different story whilst also remaining faithful to the game. So we'll see. If they do anything like Last of Us, it's quite faithful to the games. But they have got their different takes on stuff, and it works really, really well. So I'm excited to see. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. And that is our last topic of the day, so we're going to conclude it there. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat: Thimber, UK Dazarus, Stubbs Gaming, Muppet, of course, Luke Steele. Thank you. I appreciate you stopping by. And some guy named BMG. Have no idea who that guy is.
Ignore him. He's crazy.
All right. And then, of course, XBN Network. Thanks, guys, for stopping by. Definitely appreciate it. To everyone who's listening to this podcast later on, we appreciate you checking it out. It means a lot to us. BMG, where can people find you as far as on Twitter, social media, wherever?
Well, StreamYard have actually added a new thing on, as if you notice below our names, you will see mine and Sentinel's Twitter handle there. I'm at BaldManGamer on Twitter. You can find me BaldManGamer on Xbox, BaldManGamer86 on PlayStation, and you can catch me on PSN Party Podcast and XBL Party Podcast on the XBN network.
Nice. Like BMG said, my Twitter handle is there, SSGSentienl. That's where you can find me on Twitter, even though there have been some days where I exceed my tweet limit and I can no longer reply to tweets. So it does happen.
Is that a thing?
Yes, because sometimes I've tweeted like 500 times in a day or some crazy shit. I don't know, because I tweet more than I should. So sometimes it does happen. So if you reply to one of my things and I can't tweet back, that's probably why. I apologize. I'll just have to wait till the 12-hour cooldown is done, and then I can reply. But I'm also on YouTube. I believe it's SSGSentienl the same way. And, of course, on Twitch, same thing. I live stream almost every single day, so you can check me out there. And BMG and myself, you are going to be on the episode tomorrow, right?
Yes, I am. I am on tomorrow, and I think I'm just. I was messaging Scott SX2, who was in the chat earlier as well,
Right.
because I do remember.
Oh yeah, thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
I think he is on as our guest tomorrow as well. Just need to confirm with him. So it's not guaranteed right this very second,
Right.
but I just need to confirm with him just to check that he's on. But I think, yeah, he's on as our guest on XBL tomorrow.
And that'll be tomorrow afternoon. It's 3 p.m. Central Standard Time or 9 p.m. for BMG's time. It's on the XBN 8 p.m.
Yeah.
It's at 8 now?
Yeah, 8. Yeah, it's always at 8 p.m.
Damn. I'm getting the times mixed up. It might have been Stasis chat that was at 3.
Yeah, Stacey's chat when God rest its soul was at 9 p.m. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm getting the times mixed up. I apologize. So it's at 8 p.m. Central or it's 8 p.m. your time, 2 p.m. my time. There you go. I got it.
There we go. There we go.
Now you guys know.
We made it.
And it's on the same channel. It's XBL Party Podcast. It's on the XPN network. So you guys can check us out tomorrow for an Xbox themed podcast. Again, like I said, thank you so much for checking us out, for watching, for listening. We greatly appreciate it. I am, of course, SSGSentienl, and my co-host, BaldManGamer. Thank you so much for checking us out, and we will catch you guys next week.
Good night.